Oh yes, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night. You made it. We are in episode 4 of Singers. Come on, people, give a shout out to the Singers crew, people! Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
They're the big P for them.
Listen, it is so good to be back. It's been a while. It's been a minute. Just like everyone, it's really hard to, I'm going to be honest. Can I be real with you? It's really hard to maintain like programs and podcasts and show. You got to have a particular endurance for it. But I'm back. I'm back on episode 4, and I'm here to keep the fire burning and bring to you some singers of, these are guys. They're just amazing. They're amazing, yeah. And I want to introduce you to the singers for this episode. This person here is no stranger to the stage. No. His childhood years were spent winning talent shows and singing competitions around London, honing his skills as a performer. Now this highly sought after singer's resume includes, get this, did a little wedding few years back, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, yeah? Did the tours with the chart-topping UK artist JP Cooper, and features in major TV adverts like Skoda and Coca-Cola. This guy has been around, His own music is an eclectic mix of neo R&B, hip-hop beats, and soul-soaked vocals. His claims are Stevie Wonder, Luther Vandross, and Michael Jackson. He claims that these are his big musical influences, and he's also been compared to, and I think it's actually true, I'm actually getting this vibe. He's actually compared to the likes of Bruno Mars and Justin for his pop-esque appeal. Since debut in 2017, he's put out an impressive string of high-quality releases. He has. I'm telling you, it just keeps going up and up and up. And the debut singles, Want It All, was nominated for the Jump Music Awards, hotly followed by Free to Me, which garnered rave reviews from music bloggers worldwide. 2019 saw a slight change in direction with Feeling, with his first single under the new name of James Aaron. 2020 saw 2 more releases. Wish You Well featured on DJ Ace's BBC One Extra, that show, yeah? And You're Gonna Leave Me, whose acoustic video gained over 100,000 views on Facebook. People, give it up for James Aaron! Yeah! Woo! Yeah, it's good to have you on the show, James. Good to have you on the show. Okay, so we're the short hair people. Can you see us? Yeah, and then we got a couple of the longer hair people. This is like, it feels like noughts and crosses or something. So let me get to this gentleman here. Riccy is a singer-songwriter with an alternative indie soul sound. Yes, he does. Yes, he does, people. Storytelling is at the heart of his songs, drawing inspiration from the likes of Donny Hathaway, Joni Mitchell, and the Beatles. Riccy brings memorable memories and string lyrics blended with his soulful tone. Hailing from the evergreen hills of Putney, SW London, Riccy's energy is captivating. It sure is. And you need to see him live too. His performing style, presence, energy, showmanship, and mastery is engaging. Riccy has been working as a writer for the various UK artists and has spent time on the road in the studio singing for some of his peers, such as Michael. Now, I keep saying this wrong, and I should know it because I know him. And I'm frightened to say it. Michael
Kiwanuka.
See, I get it wrong all the time. Kiwanuka, and he's going to kill me for that, Emily Sandés. And I know this guy here there too, Jake Isaacs. He was also personally given the opportunity to open for the soul diva and legend Jocelyn Brown at the Camden Jazz Cafe. Continuing forward, Riccy is releasing dual singles accompanied by stunning and engaging visuals. I saw your last video.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. His current deal releases are Coming Home and Back Home, featuring Birmingham native Maddie Saskia. Is that right? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. I'm a stickler for names. Both songs describe a journey of transition between feelings surrounding love, loss, discovery, and rebirth. Give a round of applause to the singer-songwriter known as Riccy Mitchell. Yes. Ooh. Last but definitely not least, Jason was born in Spanish Town, Jamaica, and moved to London as a teenager. A singer-songwriter for over 30 years, he was the winner of the Hackney Empire Friday Night Live. Listen, I'm going to tell you now, those competitions are hard, you know, hard. So when you win them, trust me, I'm going up. It's hard. It's hard. His recent credits include singing backing vocals for Emily Sanders. Oh, another Emily Sanders. Wretch 32. Are you hearing me now? And Stormzy. And touring. So let me backtrack. And Stormzy. And touring as duet with Rebecca Ferguson. He was also the quarterfinalist for The Voice UK 2018. I remember that. I knew where I was when I was there, when I saw it. Nearly threw my socks at the TV. Yeah, trust me. It's amazing when you see someone you know on TV. Go all fan on them. Yeah. Where am I now? I've lost myself. Quarterfinalist for The Voice UK 2018, working with the likes of Jennifer Hudson, Ollie Murs, Will I Am, and the one and only Sir Tom Jones. Jason is an international worship leader, traveling across the globe as a UK solo gospel artist, and has opened for artists such as Donnie McClurkins. Just so many heavyweights in this bio. Mary, and it gets heavier. Micah Stampley, Karen Clark Sheard, Kira Sheard, Richard Smallwood, and Kirk Franklin, and a partridge in a pear tree. Jace. In 2018, Jason was invited to join the gospel choir for the Dick Whittington at the Stag Seven Oaks. Listen, you guys will know him as this resume, but I can say this is another person, yeah, that we recognize as the singer's singer. Yeah, let me say it one more time. The singer's singer. Yeah, the places that he reaches, yeah, it gives me nosebleeds. It's too high. He sings. Give it up to Jason NICHOLSON-PORTER. NICHOLSON-PORTER. I should be a ring. I said this in the last episode. I should be a ring announcement, you know.
Yeah.
NICHOLSON-PORTER, the heavyweight vocalist of the world. Gentlemen, it is really great to have you on board here. It's a privilege and an honor. It's, you know, very seldom do we have the time to just sit down and break bread and chat. And I really want to just thank you for the time that we're about to have. But like I'm saying, grace now, you know. thank you for the time we're about to have. And I know that between us, we've got some amazing, you know, stories to tell and things and experiences that people could benefit from, that are aspiring to be a singer or a person that just wants to use their voice for the good, to help people, to help themselves, to, you know, to move things yeah. So I really want to just open up the floor with, first of all, and let me all right, Riccy, I'm going to ask you this question, yeah, and this is for everyone afterwards, so you guys get the chance to think about it. When was the first time that you realized that singing is for you?
First time I realized singing was for me, I was probably around, I want to say about 17, 18. I remember being at a talent show. So we're in Streatham. It's closed down now, but there used to be this place called Ocean Bar. And I think it turned into Hideaway. I don't think Hideaway is there anymore, but anyway, there was a talent show there. And I just remember going through the stages. I'd written my own songs and produced them and, you know, did the arrangements and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, I just want to see what people are saying, to see if they're kind of digging it. And I just took it upon myself to go to this talent show, and got little PA versions of my songs, and when I got on stage, like I felt quite confident in myself, but at the same time, I was definitely rough around the edges, man. Like if I listen back to some of them songs, I don't know what I was thinking, but to me at that time, it sounded great. So, yeah, exactly. But like just playing it to my first audience was like my sisters and like my partner at the time, and that was it. Like pretty much all the man that was around me, that was it. So when they were like responding quite well to it, I was like, maybe I got something here, kind of thing. I felt like I did. I played it to a couple people, they felt like it was something. So I just took it to the streets, man, and I performed a couple of times, and I just felt after a little while, I was like, I can actually really do this. I'm watching the response that I got then. I feel like that was really probably the first time I was like, oh, okay, I can actually probably really, really do this. But my thing was never really singing. It was always like writing. They're doing the writing and stuff. So I consider myself a songwriter before a singer.
Right.
So I kind of like, I brand my stuff that way now as well. I'm more of a songwriter, singer. So I just kind of just kept like enjoying performing and developing myself as a singer, and as a songwriter, and I fell in love with it, man, and I just didn't look back.
Wow. That place where you just get ignited.
That's right.
That's right. You hear it, and people hear it, and you hear it, and you heard that they heard it, and then they heard what you heard, and you're like, okay, we heard the same thing.
Yeah. Did you hear it? I heard it. Did you? Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Jason, when was the first time you felt, you fell in love with singing, when you just said, no, this is what I have to do?
When I fell in love, that's the key word there. I fell in love with singing secondary school when I was around about 13. Actually, funny story. It started because my little sister, she's getting accolades, innit, for singing in school. And I thought, I can sing too. Literally, because school assembly, I used to go to this school called John Loughborough, and my little sister basically went and sang or whatever, and everyone was talking about how great she was. And then I was in home ec at the time. And my teacher was like, yeah, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. I was like, I'm gonna do that too. No, I sing. So obviously I started singing in the class. And the teacher was like, yeah. And then because I got that accolade, I was like, you know what? Feels good. So because essentially, I started singing at 5, but I didn't like it because I felt it was more of a girl thing. I wanted to be a drummer.
Right. As we all did.
Yeah, literally. That was it. That was the thing. I was like, yeah, man, I'm a drummer. I want to drum. That's it. Don't sing. But then, grew up, obviously went to school, saw my sister doing her thing, teachers and everyone liking it. I thought, yeah, I'm going to do it too. Started really bad. I know it's not the greatest foundation, but that's the truth.
We've all been there, man. We've all been there. James, when was the time?
So it was a similar age. I think it was around 13, 14. I don't quite remember, actually. There was a time when T-Mobile at the time, we could actually contact each other through our voicemails. I didn't actually have to phone you. I could go straight to your... Yeah, it's kind of like voice notes now, but back then it was your actual voicemail. Yeah. So then now what we would do is that our actual voice message, we would try to make it as great as possible, basically. What my friends would do, they found out that I could sing a little bit, so then they would get me to sing on their voicemails and then tell all the girls that it was them singing.
Yeah, there's a little business there.
That's a hustle right there, bro. That's like a little way to get the change right there. That's what I'll be thinking.
I wish I moved on that one, bro.
Get a little change, little lunchtime money and that.
And then yeah, from there, I realized that, you know what, I might have something here. And that's when I kind of start my journey. Now, it's that same as Jason. I was singing from when I was 5, but like I didn't really recognize what was actually going on until I was in secondary school, like 13, 14 years old. So yeah, I'd say it started there.
Yeah. It's funny, as you said that, you were actually just triggering off quite a few things in my head. I mean, I always like stuttered and stammered in school. So communication with people was really hard. And like I used to get the kids that used to fire a whole lot of questions at me, like one after the other. So like my brain was like, but as soon as I found out that singing moves people, I think I was really, really kind of like, oh my gosh, this is a strange, where is this strange fire coming from? It was like, and I remember being in, you know, Jason, the assembly. I remember being in the assembly and just seeing everyone's countenance change about me. They were like, and it was almost like, you know, it was like casting a spell, because people were like completely focused on what I was saying, but when I was stuttering and talking, no one was focusing. So I think it was very strange, and I resonate with you guys. Being a young kid, a young boy, singing with a higher voice, you just didn't want to tap into it then, until you realized, wait a minute, this is my transportation. And so, when we was teaching, all of us have done some sort of teaching with kids and boys that are transitioning in their voices. They're finding it hard with their identity of understanding what's this voice for, because it's going up and down, it's like they're tuning in, they can't tune in. So for me, yeah, I totally resonate with that. It was a great transportation for me to get a point across or be heard, and then understanding how much the power of influence it had afterwards was a big thing.
It's the thing that I'd say one of the grandest forms of communication. It's like it literally, allows any person that basically you didn't have the best way of connecting with them. Somehow you're able to connect. You know what I mean? And that's through an amazing voice, melody, and words with that. It's one thing I definitely found in school. I started gaining respect, despite the fact that people used to call me Michael Jackson and all that stuff years ago. But you know what I mean? They used to say, "Oh, Michael." I used to be like, "Nah, bro." I wasn't sure if it was a compliment or if it was a cuss.
What'd you say? What'd you talk about, Willis?
Hold on now. What you talking about, Willis?
You're here right now in this junction in time. But if you can, and I asked this to all of the people that come on, if you could get into your DeLorean, and see, that just went over quite a few people's heads. I don't know.
Mine.
Oh, okay, I just checked. I was waiting for the smile.
Yeah, listen, yo, I'm there, bro.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
Get it up to 88. Is that what it is? Is it 88?
All right, okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure. That was on the same page. Yeah, money. If you can get into your DeLorean and go back to your younger self on this singing journey, what would you tell your younger self? Jump in when you want it, people.
Oh,
that is an interesting one. It's an interesting one.
That's a very interesting one. What would I tell my younger self?
I think my younger self to be a lot more adventurous. I was very shy, I didn't used to songwrite that much either because I just found it really, really hard. And even though I did put myself out there, but like I could have put myself out there more and just like really learn a bit more. So yeah, I would just tell my younger self to be a lot more adventurous and take things more seriously. It's quite the opposite of what some people would say. Some people would say, no, I tell my younger self, it's all right, everything's going to be all right. But I'd say for my younger self, no, take it more seriously. Even though I did take it seriously, but I think there's more I could have done way back then.
Tell me why you're holding back your love from me. It will only cost you 3 words. Yeah, stop holding back those 3 words. Yeah. Tell me, baby.
Well, I would have told myself, don't operate in fear. One of the things I used to do a lot is operate in fear. And it's just like James, I was scared of writing this thing. You know, I probably even wasn't, I wouldn't say scared. I would say I just didn't do it. It wasn't anything that I mean, I was one of the biggest copycats when I was younger. I mean, I guess it helped in terms of, growing my skill, etc. But where I started seeing growth, as a young teenager, I would have definitely been a little bit more confident. I would kind of tell myself, you know what? There are people out here that actually like what you do. You know what I mean? And there's certain roads I took as well. Definitely, I would tell them, tell myself, don't go down those roads, because I think essentially it's prolonged my journey. Coming up to where I am right now, I feel like, with all due respect, I believe for all of us, we would be earning quite a lot of money right now. Do you know what I mean? Not to say that y'all ain't earning money, but I mean, like, it's just,
I know what you're saying. I hear you.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it would have, there would have been it would be a lot different if we were more if I was more confident, and if I stepped out and I didn't think that I wasn't good enough. That was my issue. Fear.
Yeah. Let me interject on that bit because I'd like to combine. I'm coming to you, Ricky. Combine James with Aaron. James with Jason. Taking yourself seriously, understanding what the fear is around you, and that whole thing, Jason, about the reflection of your music and money, I think is very powerful because it's not necessarily the money that counts, but it's the freedom to do what we do. The creative space is such a hard thing to do, and there's more, typically in an artist's life, there's more output than input. There's more outgoing than incoming. Do you understand what I'm saying? And we know that the percentage of artists that make it are very, when I say make it, I'm just loosely terming the qualification of making it, which is most people's image of freedom. Yeah, let me just call it that. The freedom to create, the freedom to display, and the freedom to live. And I think that's half the time what's tied up in our creative process. If we, when we're writing songs, it's because we soaked up our environment, and them songs become a hit. And that's how the blues came out. It came out because people had bad times. Now the irony is that people that made blues had bad time, didn't make the money, but the next generation of people that sang the blues made the money.
True.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Little Richard, he's the architect of rock and roll, but he weren't the one that was making the real money. The real money was made up of the people that were following him, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and all these guys. So I understand what you're saying when you're talking about the freedom to move and be able to take that whole process seriously and be able to understand fear. Very powerful one, and it's a very big subject too.
I feel like I feel like I would have probably given myself a little bit more room to grow, in a confident way, in a way that was healthy, and in a way that I was able to take criticism a lot better, and not necessarily criticism in a negative way, but just more constructive, you know. But even going back before that, I probably would have told myself to decide on the kind of singer or artist that I want to be, and try and figure out the ways to carve that out as early as possible, because you know, this process of like living a bit of life and then adding that part of life to your artistry, and then living a bit more and adding that, and like just trying to figure out who it is that I am outside of my singing and outside of my artistry, to then incorporate that into who I am as a person. Because at the end of the day, singing is something that I can do, but it's me, it's in me, it's that when I'm on stage, it's when I'm performing my songs, I'm sharing a part of who I am. So my vocals is just the transportation vehicle that I use to kind of get that message out there and say what I'm saying, kind of thing. So I would have focused more on like figuring out exactly who I am before I even pick up a mic, which obviously comes with experience. Like I said, decide on the kind of singer that I want to be. You know, like I can draw inspiration from Bob Marley. That doesn't mean I'm going to sing reggae. You know, I can draw inspiration from the Clark sisters. That doesn't mean necessarily I'm going to be singing gospel. You know, so yeah, just decide on, you know, where you want to be placed, and that goes for artistry too. You know, just figure out your brand. And I probably would, I'd have told myself that, like, focus a lot more, focus a lot more.
Yeah, big. You know, as a grayer head person in this community we're in right now.
Great, I love that.
Hey man, I didn't have my Just for Men this weekend. You know, I've just come out of a season of drought. I'm like, I just don't have anything to write about. I've got ideas and concepts and space, but it's not flowing like I can feel it. And at first I was very, very frustrated, because I was like, I got nothing to say. Absolutely. And it's, you know, anyone that's a creative knows that it plays on with your psyche. It really messes with your head.
Yeah, for sure.
And as a person that's growing up, you know, as the world is changing so rapidly, you feel like you can become almost outdated. And I think that it gets to the point where you're like, you know what, trust the process, because it's not about the sound, it's about the silence. It's also about what's happening in the silence. Yeah, put the organ down, Jason, put the organ down.
You heard it. I was on fire.
I just saw Jason go like this.
Put me in E-flat.
That's right. Help yourself, brother. Help yourself.
It's about what happens in the silence, and I've learned to respect that. I've also learned to love everyone else's sound in the process. You know, if I was speaking to myself, 15, 20 years back, before my first album, because I remember what it took to make the album, but before I got to that place of making my first album, I would have been anxious because I'm hearing lots of other sounds. I'm like, I'm not making a sound yet.
Yeah.
But when you do make a sound, you appreciate what it costs for that sound to be made. But also when the silence comes, you're waiting for your next sound. And so I would say to myself, trust the process.
Oh.
The process will reward you. Don't worry. It's going to happen. You're just storing up from all of this stuff around you, stuff to stay, stuff to say that will stay. Yeah.
Well.